My name is Olivia DeVos, and I am a junior at Grand Rapids Christian High School. Tonight, I have the special honor of presenting our first annual Richard M. DeVos Distinguished Alumni Award to my grandfather, Richard DeVos. Here in the Grand Rapids Christian community, you know Richard DeVos is a successful alumnus who has never forgotten his roots, proudly promoting his alma mater and continuously lending his support to our schools in the years since he graduated. In the greater West Michigan community, people know Richard DeVos as a successful businessman and a generous philanthropist who has helped make Grand Rapids a better place to live with his devotion to causes and organizations that have added value to our community. But I know Richard DeVos as a grandpa, the man that has always reminded me of how important it is to recognize people. Whenever we would travel together in the mornings, he would come up to me and say, "Good morning, Olivia." And I'd usually respond with a hello or good morning, and he'd repeat it again, "Good morning, Olivia." And I usually respond with another good morning. And then after that, once more, he'd say, "Good morning, Olivia." And then finally I'd get it and I'd respond, "Good morning, Grandpa." A simple good morning wasn't good enough for him or for me. He wanted to make sure we always spoke to each other, not to the air, and also recognized that we were going to start another new day together. My grandpa has always been a huge inspiration to me. Before I go on, I thought you might appreciate learning a little bit more about the actual award that will be presented shortly. I'm going to ask my dad to tell you about that.
Thank you, Olivia. So I get to tell you about this incredible award that's been created. The concept, design, and the manufacturing of the Richard M. DeVos Distinguished Alumni Award started and finished right here at Christian High. It's white, it's hollow in the middle, and the shape of a prism. The prism is made up of words and phrases that describe you, Dad. Words and phrases such as saved by grace, positive, cheerleader, humble, encourager, servant, and man of faith. These words were gathered from the faculty, staff, alumni, parents, and friends from Grand Rapids Christian Schools. The high school's art teachers, Krista Krigson and Jonathan Quist, took the 54 words and phrases that came from our community and used them to design the prism's four walls. In order to provide the prism internal strength and structural integrity, each letter had to touch another letter. The relationship between the letters, words, phrases is symbiotic of the relationship that each one of us have together in the community. A lot like Passion was talking about. My fellow classmate, or Olivia's fellow classmate, I should say, Andrew Quist, who's also a junior at Christian High, took their design and they converted it in such a way so that it could be understood by the school's 3D printer. Now that is a miracle unto itself. Bless him for doing that. I can't figure out my smartphone. Now, this process provided the faculty and students with an incredible learning opportunity of how to make one of the high school's first 3D printed objects. In fact, Andrew's design was so sophisticated, detailed, and technically advanced that it pushed our 3D printer beyond its capacity. He broke the printer. So we had to reach out to the community and developed a new relationship with a local firm specializing in 3D printing. They took the design from the printer and printed the award. According to their staff, this award was one of the most technically detailed objects that they have ever made. They were so impressed with this process and with our faculty and students' efforts that they are now partnering with Christian High to produce a case statement highlighting this effort and the educational applications of 3D printing. So that being said, this award is a work of art, and we hope that you treasure it as much as this community treasures you. Olivia?
Grandpa, for the proud alumnus, faithful servant, and inspiring person that you are so deserving of this first Distinguished Alumni Award that has been named in your honor. As the award says, you and Grandma have strengthened our schools, revitalized our spirits, and impacted lives for generations to come. And now I'm very proud to present the Richard M. Distinguished Alumni Award to my grandpa, Richard DeVos.
And we'll take it down to you.
That is beautiful. And so are you.
Move you so you can look right in the camera.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
And we'll take that photo?
Yeah. Helen and I are the family of leaders and supporters and givers and doers. It's a family affair. And I'm grateful that our family has responded so favorably to reaching out to others. We work at it. We have plans to meet and to greet and to educate each other and to plan for the future together. And then we'd reach out to my wonderful sisters' families and bring them into our loop because they're equally great with us. So we are very proud of them too. Kevy, we're proud of you too, buddy. I have a lot of words I used to say. I've said a lot of words. I've spoken a few times. But this wonderful young lady that spoke before us seems to have caught it. And the words that I have used in closing most of my speeches are, you can do it. You can do it. Because so many people don't think they can do things. And I say to all of you in this room and all of the kids from these schools, you can do it. And when I was young, that was my father's word. You can do it. Always, you can do it. And so I adapted that and passed it on. And so God has been with us all through these years. Times when we should have died, we lived. We were just talking to some of the people the other day when we sank, our boat sank in Cuba off the Cuban coast. Why we didn't die, I don't know. I mean, why we were that stupid, I don't know. I said, we went to Christian High, we shouldn't be doing this. No, you know, we were a couple of young guys who thought we knew a lot. But you know, remember when I was here, it was World War II. And a very serious time. And while we had our basketball and fun, it wasn't quite the same as it might be in these years. Because we all knew when the war was over, we would be going off to war. And I was class president, as you may have heard, and spoke at the commencement. My opening words were, I forgot them. Huh? Oh, yeah. What does the future hold for you and for me? Where will we end up? Where are we going to go? But in all of it, God will be with us. But let us be strong and move on out and carry the message. And I can tell you, I've traveled the world many times, and I find people from Calvin and Christian High all over the place. We were going to see the ambassador once in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and the guy stopped us in the hall. He said, hey, Rich. And he introduced himself, and he said, you know, I went to Calvin, just like you didn't. I mean, like, and anyway, I work here in the embassy now. At the same hotel was a doctor who'd gone to Calvin, and he was telling me how he was over there teaching them new ways of doing certain surgeries, and that he traveled the world doing that. That was his calling. But I saw them everywhere. This is a school. I went through the class I had and remarked on all of those people who were doing significant things. And Len back here is one of our classmates who was a preacher. And Len's still here and still preaching. Isn't that great? Well, we have a room here filled with achievers. Some more, some less. Some get public notice, some don't. But you are all doing significant things. In the raising of your children, probably most significantly. And you work and you slave to save the money to get your kids to go to this school. But that's all right, join the rest of us. I mean, everybody struggled to get their kids to go here. my parents struggled along, and I said, did so poorly in the first year. They said, you go to Davis Tech. We're not going to pay any money to send you to school. You don't even study. The problem with that was that it was true. And, but the next year, I went back here. And then I told my mother I was going back to Christian High. And she said, who's going to pay for it? I said, I will. I got 2 or 3 jobs, which I did have, a gas station job and a lawnmower cutting business and, you know, just stuff that you make a few bucks on. She said, well, that won't be enough. I said, well, then I'll have to work more. And she said, no, if it's not enough, we'll take care of it. But now that we know that you really want to go there. Well, it changed my life, of course, because I met Jay Van Andel here. And the Model A Ford in the lobby of the school tells you that who you meet here may be more important than what you learn here. The relationships you develop in your life are very important. And they move you forward or sideways or whatever. But the people you hang around with are what help make you better, maybe worse. So be careful. And when Jay and I were here, we talked about going to war. And then we talked about what kind of business we were going to get in when it was over. And we never got away from that theme. And when we got home, we got in business. And they didn't all go well, but we're still in business. And the company is still in business. And the millions of people associated with us are still in business. And Doug right here runs the business. So we're very proud of him. But I am only you a few years older in what you're achieving. So thank you for the award, and thank you for letting me be with you tonight. And this is another fundraiser, isn't it? You guys, you know, I spend my life going to fundraisers. Everything is a fundraiser these days. Thanks, John.
This community loves you. Grand Rapids loves you. I love you. And I love what you've represented to me in my position here as superintendent. It's been an honor and a privilege. My mom and dad shaped me, and you have shaped me. And I will be forever grateful. Thank you for everything you've done for me, for this community, and for the Grand Rapids community. It's one and the same. And you are an essentially deeply loved, deeply appreciated person. Mrs. DeVos, the same goes for you. We would not be today who we are if it were not for the two of you and what you've done in representation, or what you've represented in the leadership you provided here. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.